Welcome to Chase's Everything Shooting. Today's episode is Where's the Gunpowder? And it's a gunpowder update for July of 2024. It's kind of weird out there, and all of us reloaders, we probably all are seeing it now, and we've heard a lot about it. Now, in the description box below, you'll see two other posts I did. My first post is, why is there going to be a gunpowder shortage? And then there was why are ammunition prices skyrocketing? So if you haven't seen those, check into those. That will give you a lot of insight of what I'm going to be talking about today. Well, so let's get started. Well, let's just get to it. What's going on? Well, you know what? Gunpowder is going through the roof in pricing. Yep, it's going up, way up. And I think most of you guys out there and gals that are reloading, you're seeing that. Inventories, they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, I'm not telling you something you don't already know, but let's talk about why that's happening, what's going on, and how we need to prepare for the future. You know, there are a lot of different factors that are going on in the gunpowder industry, a whole lot. And in the past episodes, the ones I talked about at the beginning, if you go through those will kind of answer some of the questions. But let's just talk about why we're starting to see that shortage. Well, there's a lot of people out there and they're saying, well, it's Biden's fault, and it's the manufacturer's fault, and the government's buying it all, and there's the manufacturers are using it to make ammunition and not sell it because they want to make more money off of ammunition, a full box of ammunition, than they would off of gunpowder. Okay, there's a lot of rights and some wrongs in there. So let's get to it. There's a lot of things happening, but one of the biggest factors that I've figured out in the gunpowder industry is that most of the manufacturers, okay, are not manufacturing themselves. They're really distributors. And some of you are going, what? I know, yes, that is a fact. And so here's what's kind of going on with the manufacturer side of it and the distributor side of it. The distributor side, almost all the gunpowder brands that you buy here in America are not manufactured by that brand. They're manufactured by other manufacturers to the specific formulation that distributor wants. Okay? So you're thinking, well, wait a second. It's true. That's really what I found out is that these different brands, they go out and say, well, we want to make, and I'll use 700X. And this is the formulations. This is how we want it. We want it cylinders instead of flakes. We want this. They tell the manufacturer behind them what they want. They manufacture it, ship it to them, and then they, of course, sell it to the distributors, so the retailers, wherever that's going. So one of the problems that we're starting to see with the distribution, the different brands, is that things are getting tighter. It's harder to get gunpowder. And it's harder for the manufacturers to stick in their inventory small runs. And so the manufacturers behind these brands are saying, yeah, we're not going to play that game. We want to run so many tons of this rather than, so many thousands of pounds. And it's really causing those brands to have to make a decision. And I've seen this coming, like 700X is gone. Is there a comparable product within that brand's line that is equally as good? Well, you may not think so, but the manufacturer slash distributor does think so. They think this formulation may be equally as good as 700X. And so what's starting to happen is we're starting to see that the distributors slash manufacturers are starting to narrow down their different formulations. Some of them have 40 and 50 different formulations. Out of that 40 and 50, there may be 12 to 20 that are really hot sellers. And so now they have to go, well, what are we going to do? We want to be able to sell product. We've got to make it in bigger batches. So we're going to have to start narrowing down our inventories where we can make more of what sells every day and less, and maybe none, of what is an occasional sale. Now, what does that do to us as reloaders? It hurts. It really does. We've spent a lot of time figuring out which formulation works best for what we do. We've made a boatload of bullets and shells, and we've tried different primers, different brands, different powders, different bullets. We all try to figure out what works best for us. And that is going to make it harder for us in the future. So part of the problem is that the brands are not manufacturers. But that's really kind of the least of the problem, because there's a way bigger picture to this than what they're letting us on to. You know, talking about the gunpowder manufacturers slash distributors, you know that they're going through some real problems when they put on their website a disclosure that you need to read. And I'll read that to you real quick. We continue to prioritize our shipments to our traditional sales channels to maximize powder availability to our retailers. We place limited powder inventory for sale on a regular basis on our website. When we are sold out, we are sold out. We do not take back orders, or our tech services team cannot take back orders via email or phone. The max order quantity of any powder SKU is 5. And we will only accept 1 order per customer per calendar month with a maximum weight of 48 pounds. Products purchased on our website are not for resale. All sales are final. No cancellations or returns. Please note, all orders ship within 10 to 15 days. Please refer to our sales and shipping policy for more information. Now, if you look at their website, you got to make sure when you place that order that they actually have it in inventory. Because you place the order, it's going nowhere. It goes to Never Never Land because there are no back orders. Okay, let's really talk about what's going on. Now, we've all heard about nitrocellulose. Nitrocellulose is part of gunpowder. It can be a cotton fiber, it can be paper, it can be a lot of different things. And there is a shortage of nitrocellulose, and that's one of the reasons there's a real problem. Now, you know, if you look out there, there's 1,400 different manufacturers of nitrocellulose. Out of those 14, there's 3 that do 80% of all the nitrocellulose being manufactured. Number 1 is Thailand. Yeah, wouldn't have thought that at all. Number 2, China. Number 3 is India. Now, let's step back. Are we buying nitrocellulose from China? There's some restrictions on that. So that shrinks the size of manufacturers way down. So something to think about. That's the causing part of the nitrocellulose issue. Now, as we've heard in the other videos I did, nitrocellulose is used in a lot of different things. We're talking about auto paint. We're talking about cosmetics. We're talking about tanning leather. We're talking about wood finishes like for violins, for high-end furniture. We're talking about paints, and we're talking about some types of cellophane. So nitrocellulose, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's many, many more. But those are the big ones out there that are consuming major amounts of nitrocellulose. The biggest consumer, from what I've been told, is the gunpowder industry. Okay? Now, you're going, well, we're small compared to that. Well, when they say the gunpowder industry, they're saying the Department of Defense in the USA. That's really the big one right behind it. They are huge consumers. Now, there are wars going on all over the world, and there are a lot of different manufacturers producing gunpowder for all these different wars. Our issue comes in America, and it comes from really, we had a tight shortage of nitrocellulose, but it's going to get way, way worse. You know, when President Biden signed in H.R. 8034, that was the bill to give Israel weapons. Now, weapons. What are the weapons that we're giving them? We're giving them small arms, bullets, shells, mortars. We actually help with the Iron Dome. There's a lot of things. David Sling. There's a lot of those that we help with, and the DoD out of that gets about $9 billion to make sure that we can supply Israel what they need. Now, the big problem with that is the US DoD, Department of Defense, had a huge stockpile of ammunition and mortars and all this stuff over in Israel. Well, when Biden said, I don't like what's going on, the Department of Defense cleaned out that warehouse and sent everything to the Ukraine. Well, that's a big problem. Now we're behind the 8 ball on giving stuff to Israel. So let's kind of talk about what's going on in the Ukraine, and this really might be the biggest. HR 8035, that's the Ukrainian bill. $90 billion going to the Ukraine. Out of that $90 billion, there's roughly about a third, a little less than a third, but a third that's going in munitions. Now you ask, what do you mean munitions? I'm saying rockets, mortars, bullets, whatever that they need to fight, they're going to get. The real issue behind this, and in the bill it talks about this, is that we have cleaned out our inventory at the DoD. Now, I'm not saying we don't have any inventory. I'm just saying our inventory is majorly low. And in the bill, it talks about replenishing our inventory and making sure that as we replenish, we're still supplying the Ukrainians with what they need to fight Russia. So all of a sudden, we're at a deficit on ammunition. We're at a deficit over in Ukraine of ammunition. We've got an issue. Our stockpiles are getting low. What are they going to do? Well, I'll tell you what they're going to do because it's in the bill. You can go out and you can read those bills Quite honestly, it took me quite a long period of time to read both of those bills. And I guess as a conservative, I'm going to say there's a whole lot of pork in there. But I don't care about the pork as much right now as I do being able to buy gunpowder and to be able to supply my needs for what I want in my own inventories and to have fun doing it and be able to shoot still and not having to go and pay $1.50. I was at a retailer recently and I saw some match grade 308. I'm not going to say the brand, and it was 225, 230 a round. That's a pretty expensive round. And I can tell you, I don't shoot matches, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to pay $2.30 a round. I'm going to figure out how to make this myself. So most of you that are watching this are reloaders, and we all are out there trying to make the best of what a bad situation is. Well, I've given you a snapshot. This video could really go 30 or 45 minutes long, maybe an hour, with all the information and data I've gotten. Not going to take it that long because I know you don't want to stay here that long. But you know what? The biggest part of what's happening right now is Ukraine and the artillery they're using, the 155. You know, if you look at that, when I did my video back and they were in the middle of the war, they were shooting 5,000 to 7,000 rounds a day. That's not happening now. It's just staying the same. It's dropped a little bit. The estimates now are about 4,000 a day. They may be dropping a little bit farther, but that's what it was a few weeks back. So they're chewing up a whole lot of nitrocellulose. Now, our government's gone out and they've contracted with a company out of Turkey to build 155 shells here in Texas. This plant is outside Dallas because the goal of the military, it started off that they wanted to have 25,000 artillery shells made a month. Then they boosted it. Well, here is a chart from the DoD. And so in 2023, they wanted 28,000 artillery shells a month of 155s. In 2024, they want 57,000 a month for artillery shells 155. Now we go to the year of 2025, and thereon, they want over 100,000 155 shells a month. It's incredible. It's totally incredible. The actual number is 102,000. It's just phenomenal. And what is that going to do with our supply of nitrocellulose, especially for the retail market, for us as reloaders and shooters? Our portion was this big. It's going to be minute. Because where's the money? The money is going to the DoD to make these shells. Do you think that any of the big manufacturers are going to go, oh, we want to make 308 and 30-06, and we want to do this. We'll put aside that nitrocellulose to be able to do that. No. They're going to go, geez, they want 102,000 of these a month. We got to get cracking, because where's our profit margin? It's not in a 308. It's not in a 9 millimeter. It's in 155 millimeter artillery shell. So my prediction, and it goes along with what I started over a year ago on my first prediction, is we're going to see gunpowder prices go way above what they are. Right now, from the time Biden took office till now, gunpowder has gone up over 40%. Some have gone up over 100%, some different formulations. So that's going to be the tip of the iceberg. It's going to go crazy. So start learning about different formulations, start working out different ways of getting that gunpowder, and we're all going to have to change. That's what this is right now. It's all change. So, you know what? Let's all work together, band together, and help each other out to make sure that we can get the primers, the gunpowder, and what we need to continue our sport of shooting. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay. Just hit the like button. That helps the algorithm. Thanks.